What's that? I couldn't call him a dick in the head. Monologue United States. It was talking about some guy sent an email, a company email out referring to women as vaginas. Slide is, it's horrible.
Hey, Matt, you want to do my live shot real quick?
Getting answers. This is the CBS 13 News at 5.
In one local city, they're telling their police officers they must pay into their own pensions. This is a fight that took center stage today in Roseville, a vote that has upset Roseville police officers. Roseville City Council members decided in the end that police officers will have to pitch in. Good evening, I'm Sam Shane.
And I'm Shannon Brenius. New at 5, Derek Shore is live in Roseville with what some residents called an unethical move by council.
Well, negotiations between the Association for the Police Officers and Roseville City Council had been going on for months, and they had broken down. So the council decided they would take it to a vote and approve their best and final offer, which would have the officers contributing to their pensions. But then that meeting got moved up, and citizens got angry.
Vote no on this and go back to the table.
One by one, Roseville officers and supporters pleading with the city council not to do what they have planned, make Roseville cops start putting their money into their pensions.
The city of Roseville is not treating the officers fairly.
Whatever they want, we need to give it to them.
But there was more than just demands. There was downright anger. This 11 a.m. special meeting was called with just a day's notice.
I heard nothing in the presentation for the need or the urgency of this meeting.
So it makes me wonder why you chose to have your meeting today.
A well-hatched plan by the council, according to the Roseville Police Officers Association, to keep the public at bay.
I'm sorry I had to come to this. I really am.
And after the apology from one council member came the vote.
Councilmember Herman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Garcia?
Yes. Officers will now contribute 9% of their pensions. The city says it will cost an average officer about $200 out of their checks each month.
They made this decision up before they even came into this meeting.
The Officers Association insisting the costs are too high.
People are, already worried about making their mortgage payments, and now you're just inducing much more.
We saw that we had a structural deficit.
Roseville's mayor says they've done everything else they can to cut costs. And as for this impromptu vote,
the emotions would be as pitched next week as they are today.
And the mayor insisting they've got to get their budget together, and they had to do this vote today. The mayor says they will continue to negotiate if the union wants to or the association wants to, but if it's not somewhere close to this deal, it likely won't happen. Roseville's police chief was at this meeting today. He snuck out, though, before we could get his take on the situation.
And I'm guessing we're not hearing the end of it. Okay, Derek, thank you.
The deal to buy the Sacramento Kings, of course, is done, but not everybody's excited about a new arena being built, or at least the plans to build one for the team in downtown Sacramento. One group is drumming up support in opposition to a new arena. New at 5, Rob McAllister live in the CBS 13 newsroom with who's angry and why, and will this be a wrinkle, a hiccup, something that will hold back on the arena plan?
Yeah, Sam, a group of neighbors have filed a petition to ensure that any money that's spent by Sacramento taxpayers is first voted on the voters.
I wouldn't be doing it if we didn't think we'd get them.
What that is collect 35,000 signatures to put the $258 million arena subsidy on the ballot. Sacramento taxpayers opposed to PORC, or STOP as they are known, do not want the city using parking bonds for a new arena at the downtown plaza. They feel the city should not put itself at this kind of risk without the okay from voters.
And we want to know all the ramifications of it and have the time for the people to look at it.
The City of Sacramento city clerk says if the arena opponents get enough signatures, a special election will be held this fall. But an election would cost $1.5 million, according to the county elections office, something the city does not have readily available.
If they vote for it and if that's what they want, that's what democracy is, and we want democracy to happen.
Now, there was a poll that had more than half the respondents, I should say, that said yes, they would like to go to vote. However, during these negotiations and during the city council meetings just a few months ago, very few people stood up during those meetings to voice their opposition.
You know, Rob, but that's what just it strikes me. I mean, do they realistically, from a political standpoint, whether this is right or wrong, whether voters should be allowed to say yes or no, do they think they're going to be able to get 35,000 signatures by this fall?
It's going to be very tough. They only have 180 days once it's approved by the city, which should come in the next 2 weeks or so. It's going to be a very tough task, but it depends on how they sell it out there, getting those signatures. If they don't provide the full information, it may be very easy to get those signatures for a ballot measure.
All right, Rob, thanks very much from the CBS 13 newsroom. Right now, a fast-growing Southern California brush fire is burning near several structures and power lines. This is in the Angeles National Forest. That's north of Santa Clarita in Canyon Country. So far, the blaze has blackened about 20 acres.
A fugitive wanted in connection with the murder of a Stockton store owner is behind bars. U.S. Customs and Border Control agents arrested 22-year-old Richard Alcaraz at the San Francisco International Airport yesterday evening. He was returning from Mexico. He's accused of murdering a store owner after stealing 2 cases of beer in November of last year. A Vacaville nurse is unable to work after she says a patient hurt her more than a year ago.
New at 5, Cammie Brown finds out why nobody knew the patient was dangerous until it was too late.
An ER nurse says she was working at this hospital, North Bay Healthcare in Vacaville, when a patient came in handcuffed without a police escort. She says shortly after that, she got injured.
So depending on the day, I either feel or don't feel my arm.
Jennifer Erickson was working in the emergency room when she noticed a patient wearing handcuffs.
So I said, well, where's the police officer? Well, he's not coming, but he gave me the key, so it's okay.
Wanting to make sure the patient was fine, Jennifer says she and a few other nurses began working on her. That's when, according to Jennifer, the patient became combative.
If I had a police officer there that's trained with dealing with these patients, especially one that he's determined to be a danger to herself and others, then I think it would have changed.
While trying to hold down the patient, Jennifer was hurt, suffering a herniated disc in her neck, among other injuries. That was 18 months ago, and now Jennifer may not be able to continue her high school dream of helping people as a nurse.
And I loved what I did, but that night changed it all.
North Bay Healthcare says they don't have a specific policy on what to do with a handcuffed patient.
Each instance can vary. It really is dependent on the behavior of the individual.
Jennifer fears more nurses are in danger if a police escort isn't required.
And this might happen again.
Jennifer says she's been out of work for the past 3 weeks, and her surgery just recently got canceled. She's hoping that they can reschedule that surgery so she can get back to doing the job she loves.
Dixon police say they don't have a record of the incident. Jennifer says the police told her to make a formal complaint, but she never did. A local man is under arrest accused of exposing himself near Washington Elementary School in Midtown Sacramento. Police say the suspect, who has not been identified, is under arrest for a parole violation and misdemeanor exposure. 2 men are under arrest for allegedly stealing catalytic converters from Rockland residents. Police say that an officer found 4 catalytic converters after making a traffic stop yesterday morning. A 60-year-old and 30-year-old man are both behind bars tonight. Now to world and national news. More severe weather moving through Oklahoma and the South.
Christine Anderson's at the World and National Desk with the threat of new tornadoes. Christina?
Well, as you can imagine, this is the last thing that they needed to see today. We're talking about dark skies over Oklahoma filled with storm clouds that turn into twisters. The Storm Prediction Center in Oklahoma says the main risk is centered over the eastern and central parts of the state, the same area where a tornado killed 24 people last week. Storms are also threatening parts of Missouri, Kansas, and Arkansas. There's also a risk of storms in the same area tomorrow. So here in the Weather Center now with Dave Bender. with a look at where this severe weather is headed.
I mean, it's slowly moving, and some of it's pushing all the way up toward St. Louis, Chicago, so everyone's getting into the act. Take a look at the latest Titan HD here, and we'll dive on in and show you. It's pretty much the central and northern Mississippi valleys really getting hammered. Underneath the radar there, you'll see orange boxes that are not moving. Those are the severe thunderstorm warnings. And then back to Oklahoma, just to the south of Moore, which got hit with that big twister. You'll see that red box down there. That is a tornado warning. That is a new one right there. And it looks like we'll continue to see these things blossom as we go on through at least the next day or so. So that's what's happening back in the central and eastern portion of the United States. Let's talk about what's happening around our neck of the woods. Live look down there. Of course, that is Ski Beach along the Sacramento River. Keep this in mind. Temperatures are going to be warming up over the next couple of days, so the water is going to be looking really good. Just remember, it's cold, it's running fast, and if you do get into the river, wear a life belt or something like that. Just keep yourself protected. Now, with the temperatures going up, the winds are going to be picking up. So starting tomorrow morning, going until about 7 p.m. on Saturday, we do have a red flag warning, and of course, that is in the areas that you see there in red. So that means low relative humidity, stronger winds, dry conditions out there, and the temperatures are really going to be rising. So as far as the risk of wildfire, a little bit down in the northern San Joaquin Valley right now because we do have some northwest winds gusting there. But for tomorrow, with gusts at around 30 to 35 miles per hour out of the northwest, we're going to drop those dew points. The humidity will drop. The temperatures will be well into the 90s. So the risk of wildfires will be elevated not only tomorrow, but also as we go on through the better part of our Saturday. And also on Saturday, we're going to get close to the 100-degree mark for the first time of the year. Will we do it? Details coming up. Christina?
All right, Dave, we'll see you in a few. Thanks. In other world and national news now, another letter possibly poisoned with ricin sent to President Obama. The attack comes just days after poisoned letters were sent to New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg and his gun control group. The letters were postmarked on May 20th from Shreveport, Louisiana, with no return address. They each contained a pink-orange oily substance that tested positive.
Different ways of producing it, and I don't want to speculate as to what this way was, but it was a gooey substance.
3 officers who had contact with that letter sent to Mayor Bloomberg came down with minor ricin poisoning. They're said to be okay. President Obama has made his choice for the next FBI director. He's expected to nominate James Comey to head the agency when current director Robert Mueller steps down in September. Comey was once the #2 man at the Justice Department under President George W. Bush. Obama will likely officially nominate Comey for the 10-year FBI term in the next few days. A concert benefiting the marathon bombing victims is now underway in Boston. Steven Tyler and Aerosmith are among the headliners. The musical lineup also includes James Taylor and New Kids on the Block. Proceeds from that concert will support the One Fund Boston charity. 3 people died, more than 200 others were wounded in the April 15th attack. Sam?
Drivers traveling through Marysville can expect to run into some traffic detours.
Starting next week, Caltrans will begin working on a $48 million roadway renovation project. The 2-year plan will widen streets and update signals on Highway 70 from 6th Street and around 10th to 13th Streets. One business owner in the area says the project is a double-edged sword.
If they shut down our streets, it's going to be hard for people to find us. So hopefully it doesn't last too long. The end result is good for the area, but while it happens, we all have to make some sacrifice.
Construction will take place over more than 12 stages.
Reunited, how a Bay Area woman finally met the person who gave her a second chance at life 60 years after she was abandoned as an infant.
Tattoo regret, when you start to rethink that ink, the right and wrong ways to clear your skin.
Honor student, how a local high school student beat the odds to earn a degree and why 9 of America's best colleges offered him a full ride scholarship.
And if you have captured any news on your camera, be a part of our CBS 13 News Street team. Email pictures or video to news@KOVR.com or send us your story tips so we can get answers.
Right now, we continue to monitor a fast-moving brush fire. This is in Southern California. Gusty winds are pushing the wall of fire across the Angeles National Forest. This is near Santa Clarita, north of Los Angeles. The fire is threatening structures and possibly power lines, but as of right now, it's not clear whether any homes are in danger. We'll continue to watch that.
62 years ago, a Bay Area woman answered a cry for help and gave an abandoned newborn a second chance at life. Now, it was the only time the two ever met, that is, until today.
New at 5, John Ramos was there for a reunion 6 decades in the making.
62 years ago, a mystery began in Concord in a car parked at 1443 Coventry Road, and these two women were both there.
Slowly opened the car door expecting a cat to jump out, and instead there was this little blue bundle on the front seat of the car.
That bundle was Kira Dergowan when she was only 1 day old. The newspapers reported the story of the abandoned baby.
When I was found, I was taken to the hospital. I was slightly premature. I was there for a week. Then I went immediately to this foster family.
Kira grew up in foster care and then later with an adoptive family. She was happy, but always wondered about the parents who abandoned her. But then, 58 years later, Kira learned that a letter had been left at the scene by her birth mother. It said her mother was 15 years old and the baby, who she called Nelda Jean, had been abandoned by the father.
And you can read that she carried my picture in her wallet. And she said she cried every time. And when she grew up and got married, she was going to find me if it killed her.
So that little girl in the car has been searching for her long-lost mother. And she began by reconnecting with the woman who found her that day. On Monday, Kira reunited with Jan Hungerford, and the two immediately felt a special bond.
And she said, "I'm that baby you found, and I just wanted to let you know I turned out okay."
Kira's birth mother would be 77 years old today, and no one knows who she is or if she's even still alive. But just in case, Kira is putting her story out in the media, hoping to pass on a message.
I now know that I was forcefully taken from you, that you loved and wanted me, and that you named me Nelda Jean, and that you intended to find me someday.
And she now realizes that even people who have been abandoned don't have to feel alone.
Quite a story. Dergowan still lives in Bellingham, Washington.
Very touching.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the world's fastest boats are going to make quite a splash in the capital city.
Big Wake Weekend is making a return to Sacramento after a 46-year hiatus. Today, H1 Unlimited Hydroplane Racing displayed 14 boats at the state capitol. They're going to be racing this Friday through Sunday on Folsom Lake. Each boat weighs 7,000 pounds, but they can go faster than 200 miles per hour.
200 miles an hour in a boat?
3,000 horsepower. You got to do some water skiing behind that.
He wouldn't be able to hang on.
Hit it.
And then no arms left. We'll be calling him Stumpy after that.
Oh,
that's sad.
It is sad, but it's going to be, it might be a little windy tomorrow, so it could be big wave weekend out there. So I don't know how that plays into those boats, because those things can really get airborne, almost like planes on the water. All right, let's take a look at our current conditions, and then we'll talk about the weekend, how close we're going to get to the triple digits, and also we'll continue to talk about the winds and the elevated fire danger. Right now, live look at the Capitol. Sunshine out there. It's a pretty pleasant afternoon. 85 currently in Sacramento. Humidity 18%. Winds are 7 miles per hour, and the barometer is falling at 29.89. The numbers in Stockton, 85 degrees. It's a little breezier down there with those gusts at 22. That's why they most likely have just a little elevated fire danger as far as the risk of fire in the northern San Joaquin Valley as we go through the afternoon. It's Mosey down in Modesto. It's 85 degrees. Winds are northwest 15, gusting to 22 miles per hour. And on toward Marysville, we've got temperatures there in the mid-80s, 86 degrees. So the numbers are feeling great. Tomorrow, we're going to be in the low to mid-90s, and then we'll be in the upper 90s, close to 100, just in time for Saturday. Saturday is going to be the warmest day, and both tomorrow and Saturday, we do have the chance of those northerly, northwesterly winds with some gusts 30 to 35. So that's why we've got the elevated fire danger. Boy, it's pretty active back here in the eastern portion of the U.S. and again around Oklahoma, just south of Moore is where we're seeing some pretty good thunder bumpers firing, and all this stuff severe in nature, rolling toward the middle Mississippi Valley and on toward parts of the western edges of the Great Lakes. Now we'll head on out to the west out here, and what you're going to see is a ridge of high pressure that'll be building in on top of us. And as that ridge builds on in, we'll have enough of a pressure gradient, because lower pressure will go right through there, that the surface pressure gradient from Medford down to Sacramento will be strong enough to generate those northerly and northwesterly winds. Usually we have the air, not only the combination of the high pressure, but the air tumbling upon itself will adiabatically heat. That also will just dry things out, and that's why we'll have low humidities and that elevated fire danger. So again, the major look here will be the ridge of high pressure building on up on top of us. All moisture stays up and away. Toastiest day will be on Saturday, and then there's a little dip right here in the isobars, and that's going to be a little bit of cooling just in time for Sunday. So we may see our first triple digits of the year. I think there'll be more in the northern portion of the Sacramento Valley, but we're going to hit 99 officially in downtown Sacramento, but it'll be close, so we'll just have to see. So 93 tomorrow around Sacramento, morning low at 58. Definitely a gusty situation with those northerly and northwesterly winds picking up. 90s all the way up toward the north end of the valley, and records at this time of the year anywhere between about 102 to 100, I think 109 in the north end of the valley. So we're not going to see records fall by the wayside. So that's some good news. Temperatures for the Gold Country tomorrow, upper 80s for Sonora, 88 for Jackson, Pollock Pines in the low 80s, Auburn at 90, mid 80s around Grass Valley. Higher elevations, it's a great day. Most of the wind will be in the Central Valley and off to the west. So in the high country, you're not going to have hardly any wind up there. It's going to be beautiful. Look at that. Temperatures in the low to mid 70s around the greater Lake Tahoe area. And as we head over toward the west, partly cloudy skies to start. Pretty good sea breeze over toward Monterey. Then by the afternoon, mostly sunny skies. Daytime highs in the upper 60s. You go toward San Francisco, it's going to be sunshine from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. And it'll be the low 70s around downtown San Francisco. And that sea breeze 20 to 30. That's a sea wind. Mid 60s around Fort Bragg. And let's take a look at the 7-day forecast. And again, the hottest day will be Saturday at 99, then mid-90s on Sunday, and then we start to cool back down. We're still above average, but something a little more civilized Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But it'll be fun. All the video that's going to come from those boats out there, man, it's going to be great.
Hanging out by the lake.
I've
Sounds
seen those
great.
things go.
Are they amazing?
Oh,
wow.
Thank you.
Sure.
Sounds good. Think before you ink the right and wrong ways to get rid of that unwanted tattoo.
Well, it may have seemed like a great idea at the time, but many years later, many people wish that those tattoos would just disappear.
1 in 8 Americans with a tattoo has regrets, but doctors say there's a right way and a wrong way to get rid of it. When Kristen Hoster got this tattoo, she thought it would be part of her life forever.
It's a Hello Kitty cupcake with purple flames and peppermints.
Now that Kristen is in the food industry, she says her tattoo is serving up stress.
I had to wear long sleeves even in the summer.
Kristen is part of a growing number of Americans opting for tattoo removal, a long, often difficult process. Now, some are going the do-it-yourself route. Doctors like board-certified plastic surgeon Dr. Michael Byun are very concerned and strongly advise against it. That's because tattoo ink is embedded deep in the skin.
People think that you can actually remove the outside skin, and thus the color will leave the body. That's very difficult, dangerous thought process.
Online, there are graphic videos devoted to self-removal. Some people use safety pins or pens to try and poke the pigment out.
We had a patient once who had used salt to try to scrub the tattoo off.
Dr. Amy Derrick with the American Academy of Dermatology has also seen patients try self-removal gels and creams, but she says there's no evidence they work.
A lot of products have chemicals or ingredients that are irritating to the skin with the hope that the immune system will fight off the pigment that remains.
I tried just a gel you put on twice a day. Didn't do anything.
For some, DIY treatments can cause serious side effects like infection, scarring, burning, rashes, and skin discoloration.
That compounds the moral issues when they come in seeking the medical treatment.
Laser surgery, of course, is considered the gold standard of getting rid of your tattoo and is cleared by the FDA.
But even then, successful treatment depends on the size, color, location, and age of your ink.
Bye-bye, Hello Kitty. An Elk Grove teen has a bright future ahead of him after scoring a near impossible feat. Where this new grad is headed, thanks to some hard work. Tonight on CBS 13 News at 6.
Gang violence and an uptick here in Sacramento County. Are gang members the only ones being targeted?
There's a little bit of a color battle going on between our norteños and sureños.
Why wearing the wrong color could put you in jeopardy. That's new at 6.
Okay, finally tonight at 5. What a story. An Elk Grove teenager already in rare academic company, and he hasn't even started college.
17-year-old Lloyd Chen graduated today with a 4.79 grade point average. He's managed to get accepted to not just one, but 9 elite schools, including Stanford, Harvard, and Princeton. The feat surprised even him.
It was unbelievable. I didn't even think that was possible. I mean, I met a few others who have done that on my college visits, but it was just more than a dream come true.
He's getting plenty of scholarship money to do it, and he's going to be heading to Harvard this fall. He faced a number of family struggles, so it's a good thing.